And let's try part of number 1. You guys should be fairly comfortable with this. This is still some Im2 stuff that you're doing here. All right. So what we're going to do is complete this table using this function. And the only domains we're going to use is this. Once we complete the table, we're going to use the table to graph it. What I do want you to remember is the domain. Remember, these are your x values or your input. So in other words, these can go in the x table. So they could go 0, 1, 2, 5, 7. Okay, so that's where I get my x values from. They're not random. They're actually given to us from the domain. Now what I'm going to do, I want to fill in the first table. So what I'm going to do is take my x value and plug it into my function for x. So I'm going to have y equals 2, and the first x value I have is 0 plus 1. So remember, plug in with parentheses. Do the math. Y equals 0 plus 1, and y is going to equal 1. So that 1 goes here on the table. And now 0, 1 is actually the point 0, 1. So I'm going to plot that over here. 0, 1 is there. Okay? And this is what you're going to do for number 1. Complete the table, plot the point. Number 2, complete the table, plot the point. All right? So I'm going to let you guys go ahead and finish that up. Okay? You are adding it. You're going to turn these problems in with the assignment that is due on Wednesday, which is called Practice 1.4, 1 through 8. Okay? These are not actually from the assignment. These are extra. These are extra problems that you're going to add to this. Okay? So, saying that, I want you to come back. You could stay on Zoom if you want to, but we're going to come back. Let's shoot for 9:15. Okay, 9:15, and I'll give you your access code to turn in. What's that? These problems here? Yeah. Yeah, just throw them on a piece of paper. Yeah. So I'll give you time if you need to write them down. I'm going to complete problem number 1, okay? And then when everybody else comes back, I will do problem number 2 for everybody, all right? So if you're still here and you're near the computer, pay attention if you're struggling with this, okay? So number 1, we have to complete this table. So we need to know our x values, and what you have to remember, our x values are actually our domain. So they are giving our x values here. So that's how I got these numbers at the top. Okay, that's our domain. To find our range or our y values, I need to take each x value and I'm going to plug it into this function. So if you recall, I plugged in 0 for x. And I got y equals 2 times 0 plus 1. Did the math, and that's how I got y equal to 1 there. Now I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to plug in the x value of 1 into this x. So let me get that going. So instead of 0, I'm going to plug in 1. Okay, so I'm plugging in 1 there for x. 2 times 1 is 2. So we're just evaluating now or doing order of operations. That turns into 2 plus 1. And then y is going to equal 3. So when I plug in 1, I get an output of 3, which means I have a point of 1, 3. So this is 1, 3. So I can now graph that, which would be there. Now we just repeat this process again for number 2. So I'm going to plug in 2 for the x. And then do the math. So y equals 4 plus 1. That gives me an output of 5. Which means my next point is 2, comma 5. 2, comma 5 is here. And then we repeat the process for an input of 5. So let's erase this. And now I'm plugging in 5 for x. Two times 5 is 10. Y equals 10 plus 1. So that's y equal to 11. So my output is 11. So 5, comma 11. And that's going to be right here. Okay, and then last, I'm going to plug in 7 for x. Two times 7 is 14. 14 plus 1 is 15. So now I want to plot 7, comma 15. Which would be way over there at the top. And now we are done with number 1. We completed the table using our domain. We got our range, which is 1, 3, 5, 11, 15, which allowed us to plot these points. Okay? Hopefully that helps and you're good to go on the next problem. So number 1, I completed it for you. For those of you who stayed on Zoom, you saw how it was done. Essentially, I just got my x values from here, which go into the top of the table, and I plugged in each x value in for x, and it gave me my output, my y value, which is called your range. Combining the x and the y together, you get the point 0, 1, 1, comma 3, 2, comma 5, 5, comma 11, 7, comma 15, and that's what I plotted here. Okay? We're going to do the same process here. This one's a little different just because of the fraction. So I know a lot of students get scared away with this fraction, but just kind of handle like a number. If you have a calculator, use a calculator on it. Okay? So my domain, which is all my x values, I'm going to post them into the table here. So that means I'm going to put in 10, 13, 14, 16, and 18. Okay, to find my output, my y values, or my range, I'm going to plug in each x into the function here. So let's do the work at the bottom. So we're going to have y equals 1/2, and the first problem I'm plugging in, or first x, is 10 minus 5. Okay, so let's compute. Let's do this math, order of operations. What is half of 10? That's basically how you want to think about it. Or 10 divided by 2, or 10 times 1/2, okay? So that's going to give me 5 minus, bring down the 5, and essentially we get a y equal to 0. So that point is 10, comma 0. Okay, let's plot it. 10, comma 0 is right here. Now let's do the next one. I'm going to plug in 13 for x. Okay, again, if you need a calculator, do it. Half of 13, or 1/2 times 13, is going to be 6.5. Minus 5, that's going to give me positive 1.5. So 1.5. So my next point is 13, comma 1.5. So let's plot that. 13 and 1.5, that's about right here, halfway up from 1 to 2. Now we go to 14, plug that in. That's going to give me 7 minus 5, because half of 14 is 7, and that gives me 2. So now we have 14 comma 2, and we plot that point. 14 comma 2 is right here. And then we just continue this process. So now we're going to plug in 16. Half of 16 is 8. 8 minus 5, that gives me 3. So we have 16 comma 3. And we plot that down. We get it there. And then last but not least, we plug in 18. Half of 18 is 9. 9 minus 5, that gives me 4. So we have 18 comma 4. Plot that point. 18 comma 4 is here. Okay, and that's how you completed part 2. If you look at your assignment today on the calendar, remember, add these to it or include these when you submit practice 1.8, which is actually due Wednesday. Okay, you're going to put these problems in there as well. All right, so unless you have other questions, I'll stay on here until the end of the period, which is at 9:45. I'm going to give you the access code now. Please, guys, before you leave my Zoom right now, go submit the access code. If you do not know how to do it, stay on and say, Mr. Fernandez, I don't even know what you're talking about. This is how I take roll. And if you're not coming to the Zooms and putting the access code in, I'm marking you absent. Okay? So the access code for today's period 1 check-in is baby. So do that now. Do not leave my Zoom until it's done.
Can you show me where to go to the access, to put the access code on?
Yes, I'll show you. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes, I can hear.
Okay. There's a couple of people saying I was muted. All right. Hold on, let people get this access code, and then I'll show you where to put it in. All right, so I'm gonna get out of this screen and then let's show you where the access code is at. Okay, so you're gonna go to the agenda for the week, click on it for week, week 3? And then all your attendance check-in are in this top column here. Okay, so for us, we just have to do a period 1 check-in. So you're gonna click, there's a link here, click the link. And mine looks a little different, but it's gonna ask you for access code, and your access code is BABY, B-A-B-Y. Once you enter it, you're gonna have one question where you here, click on yes, and then submit quiz, and you are done. It should say 0 out of 0 if you did it correctly. And you will do that every time we have a Zoom meeting. You don't have to do it any other day.
Bless you.
Thank you.